Hello everybody, I want to make a drive shaft today, but first I have to tidy this disaster. I'm not going to bore you with that, so I'll be back shortly. Right, space has been made to work. So let's get on with the job in hand. But first, let me do a quick recap for those who are either new to the channel or those who just want a reminder of what's going on. 1936 Chevy Coupe body. 1936 Chevy Coupe frame with Crown Vic front end. Small block Chevy 350 turbo transmission. 9-inch rear diff, Ford. So I have to make that slip yoke connect to that Ford, not slip yoke, I don't know what that's called. So let me show you what I have to play with. Here we have a collection of drive shafts of unknown origin, shall we say. That is a 350 transmission slip yoke, as is that. So those two are the same. No idea. Oh, well, that actually came from a little Japanese van. That was actually going to be for a different project. So that's no use, I can discount that. I've no idea what that's from. Probably a truck. That doesn't fit. This may fit, but it's got this big harmonic balancer type doodad on it, so that would just get in the way. The back of them, we have this UJ that I bought for my last project. So that definitely, that section there is smaller than that section there. I can't remember the name of that particular combination U-joint. No idea what that is. Don't know what that is. And again, I think that is some sort of Chevy, which I can't use. However, I might be able to use one or two of the UJs that are kicking about on this thing in some description. So let me do some calculations using my, well, this is just my general template. That's my transmission, that's my differential, these are my distances. So this little gap here, I need about 1 inch of play. I want to start with the slip yoke out 1 inch from the transmission, so that when your suspension goes up and down, this can slide in and out a little. So this is my base measurement. So from 1 inch forward of the slip yoke to the UJ centre is 49.5 inches. However, I can't put any measurement on the actual shaft itself because all these ends are different lengths. So as I say, I'll do some calculations and see what parts of these shafts I can use. I have excluded these two drive shafts from the scenario and I am left with these two. Specifically because I can't use anything fatter than that drive shaft. It won't fit through the drive shaft loop on the chassis. So this is the original rat rod. I know that both ends fit, so how about this? The diameter of this is slightly smaller than the diameter of that. This is approximately, it's about 3 inches, and this diameter is, depending on where you put this, it's about 278. So that difference will be that much. Now I know from experience from cutting that, these are actually quite thin, much thinner than I thought they were going to be. So the theory is, if I cut this one about there, you cut this one wherever, it doesn't matter where I cut it, but I don't want to cut it too short because I need 49.5 inches, you know. So if I cut that there, take this section away, and then hopefully slide that part of the drive shaft into this section here, and then weld it round there. Pretty much the same at the other side, except this side here will be sliding over that side, which is thinner. So one of them is like a little bit bigger than that, and the other one is a little bit bigger than that. We'll see if it works. First thing I'll do is clean them all up and make some cuts. I'll just do one side at a time, and then I'll know if it's going to work at all. This is something I made the last time. I made a drive shaft out of just scrap metal. I think it actually came from an elliptical machine and some casters that I got at a flea market for like $1 each. So I'll show you how that works. Let me just grab my shaft and put it on my little jig, like so. The idea being, especially if you're welding something round, you can basically just weld and turn. You don't have to be moving your angle grind, your MIG welder or whatever it is you're using. Sorry, that's just that flopping about. That keeps that, shut up! That just keeps that nice and smooth. And it's also handy if I'm going to be dialing anything in. I can just clamp the dial indicator to that basically and hook it round. And also it's probably quite handy to be on there while I'm cleaning it all up. Let's find out. Just found another use for it as well. I want to mark a perfect line round here. Little soft spot there, or not a soft spot, you know what I mean. Anyway, you get the idea. Means I can cut round there in a nice straight karate chop. So I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm going to try and preserve the inner sleeve of this one, just in case I ever have to use this for a future project. That's fine. The sleeve was a bit 2 mil further in anyway, so I haven't wrecked anything. I can always reuse that. Anyway, that gives me a nice clean cut. Now I'll cut the other one and see if it just magically slips inside. No point cleaning it all up just now. I need to make sure it fits. Let's not waste time and grinder discs. So for this one I really do need to be careful because I need to use that inner sleeve this time. So I'm going to cut just to the left of the original weld. I'm going to take my time at this one, so be patient. like so. So there's what I'm talking about. So I managed to only just getting into the sleeve, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's see how it fits in the. Oh no. Okay, updated plan since I actually messed that up. Oh my goodness. So when I was cutting that very, very carefully, I should have actually cut it about that far out, because the idea was that it was going to use the existing shaft to slide in there. So now obviously when I slide in, I've got too much distance. So updated plan, bearing in mind this is really just as a bit of a spacer anyway. It's not really structural per se, because it'll be welding from there onto that section there. Okay, so it's really just a spacer, which this serves purpose quite nicely. So it doesn't matter actually, because this has been a bit flared out when it was smashed onto the original yoke. So I'll just cut out maybe an inch section of this, slide it inside, and just kind of tack it on. As again, it's really just using it as a spacer to increase the diameter up to there, and then that will slide inside, and then I can weld it round. However, I'm not going to do any of that welding until it's on the car, because there's virtually no way I can get this dialed in unless it's rotating on the car, and that is in the transmission. Okay, so I will do the other side and hopefully not mess that one up. So this end has a different problem. Didn't actually screw this up. However, that is slightly smaller than that diameter. And if I was to put a sleeve over that, then the main weld is just going to be onto this, between that and something similar in thickness. I'd rather that was butted up against the thick stuff there. So what I can do, I can actually try using my lathe for something useful for a change, because this is actually really thick. It's like 1/4 inch thick. I could easily take a skim of that down, and then it should hopefully fit inside that tube. Give it a shot. It's the worst that can happen. If nothing else, this will be a template to get one made up properly. Hands up if you've ever tried to dial in a U-joint that's been cut with a rusty badger tooth. Wasn't fun. It's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to cut a few mil off of that relatively straight. Let's see if it works. I'm going to sit you right there, because I don't want you seeing just how bad this how bad this is close up. Alright, let's see if anything fits. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, here's my little resized yoke thingy-majig, and he fits in nicely there. So now I can weld around there, you know, make sure it's straight. So I'll probably have to cut this down to size. I will clamp that in place for now, clamp the front yoke in place and get that measurement, and I'm going to triple check it. You know me, how I like to mess up my measurements. However, I'm going to go and get some dinner. I'll be back shortly. Right, I've just placed them. I've placed the ends in for now. I can get a rough measurement at the moment, but I am going to take it all over to the car. I don't want to chop it too short. That would be an absolute nightmare. So it's currently about 1 inch too long, but let's make sure. Okay then, let's get the slip yoke in first. Okay, so the slip yoke's all the way in, so it needs to be out 1 inch, which is fine, because that is actually pretty much centered on its little home. I'll show you from the other side. So this section here will sit in there. So if I take, actually I might take 1.5 inches out of it. Yeah, take 1.5 inches out of there. Yeah. Okay, so that's the next job. You can see how little room I've got around there, and that's the thinnest drive shaft I could find. Once it's centered, it should be okay. If not, I need to make that hole a little bit bigger. Shouldn't be too hard. So let's get this cut down and then cleaned up, but probably tomorrow because it's getting dark. Right, we are back at it. Where were we? Oh yeah, cutting 1 inch off. I think it's actually 1.5 inches. I had another look at it there. So I'm going to cut it from the fat side, because the thin side has got little weights on it, so I don't want to disturb them. So 1.5 inches off of there. Tap that in. Actually, I'm not going to. Yeah, well. Oh well, right. Let's try it in the car again. Right, I'm going to install this where it's supposed to go properly, and it's home. Right, that's where that goes, front end. Right, let's see where we're at. Let's check my spacing. Oh, it's right in the middle there. See, I know that looks really close, but you've got to consider how far it would have to move over this way in order for that to get close to that. So I think we're okay. At the worst, 1/4 inch shaving round here. And at the front, got about 1.5 inches. Bear in mind I've done it a little bit further out because there's no weight in the back. So when you push down in the back end, that's going to come in a little bit. Okay, let's get it off and get it all cleaned up, ready for some welding. Okay, that's all cleaned up. So I just need to weld in this little spacer sleeve in there, and then we can get it sized up on the car. My iPhone overheated. Had to put it in the fridge for a wee while. Oh, I can't win, eh? It's either freezing my buttocks off or it's as hot as the sun. Right, let's get back out to the job at hand, shall we? Right, I'll show you where we're at. I'm pretty confident this is going to be a temporary solution. It's near impossible to get this dialed in with an old half-rusted drive shaft. I've been playing about with this for ages and that's as good as I'm getting, to be honest. Which will be fine for kind of short local drives, but if you hit the highway with that sort of deviation, it's going to vibrate. So yeah, it'll do for now. So I'll put some more tacks on that, then I'll work on the front side. I don't think the front is as important as the back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think because of the amount of mathematics involved in geometry, that is more important than that. As I say, let me know. I'm having one of those days, folks. I've just taken my drive shaft out to bring it over to the bench, and it won't fit through the hole. So I guess I'm making that 1/4 inch mod right now. Okay, it's not pretty, but I can tidy that up and take a little shaving. It only needed less than 1/4 inch, and it's actually not really affecting any structural. It's just a kind of lip here. Oh, you can't see. There's a kind of lip here that can come out. Everything else is still riveted in place. Right, workbench. Okie dokie. Let's move you along a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Right, I remembered to clean up my nozzle this time before I start. Hopefully that'll make a difference. Right, let's weld this sucker up. That's fine. I've seen uglier welds. Not much uglier, but I've seen them. Right, I'll just throw some rusty, not rust, anti-rust black paint on it, just to hide the sins. Okay, while that's drying, might as well take advantage of the situation and trim the other side of that hole that I just enlarged. Oh, sunlight. Yeah, so I just nibbled that bit. I'll just do the same at this side and then sand it down nice and smooth. Throw some paint on it while I can. And then hopefully the drive shaft will be dry and I can slot it back in, button it up, and then on to the next thing. So I just got a delivery. I like deliveries. So this is from Joe at Bad Hombre Garage. He obviously saw that I was running out of t-shirts. All my t-shirts have got holes in them. So he has sent me a very special t-shirt. Isn't that cool? Might even fit. But I'm not going to try it on just now because, you know, I'm all covered in car. That looks nice. Screen print, I think. Good quality. So, visit Joe at his channel up there. Okay? Thanks, Joe. That's really nice. Right, that's long enough. So hot now that it's started to actually melt. Right, I will throw that on the car. See if it's see if it works. Well, I'm not going to know if it works until I actually drive it, but at least I'll see if I'm close. Right, you guys sit there. Oh, there's no way I'm getting this in without scratching it. Paint's still sticky. Right. Just need to attach my little brackety things. Oh, sorry. Careful I don't sit in anything and burn my backside off. Very hot today. Not complaining. I'd rather it was very hot than very cold. You okay? Yeah, I've got a lot more space either side of the drive shaft now, so I'm happy with that. I'll just do a wee spin test before I lower it down. Make sure it's not completely wonky. Looks pretty good to me. Really won't know until we go for a drive, which is a long way off. So that will do for now. Yeah, we're good. Oh, yeah, let's lower it down. See what happens. I don't actually know if it's going to go further into the transmission or further out. Much the same, to be honest. That's okay. As I say, there's still plenty of yoke. The yoke goes in to a bit there, and it's splined at that amount, so Should be fine, I hope. Right folks, I'm going to wrap that up there. Next on the list, probably brake lines, fuel line, gas tank, and those rear mounts that I still need to do. And that'll be the back end pretty much done. Yeah, we're getting there guys, we're getting there. So make sure you subscribe if you've not already. Leave a comment. Tell me how much you hate what I just did. Let me stress, that's a temporary drive shaft, okay? I do not expect that to be on there for very long. Once I can afford to buy a new one, I will, and I'll just use that as a template. You know, I'll take that in and say, make me one of these but not crap. Yeah, okay. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll get back to work tomorrow. I appreciate you all. Bye bye.